All right, welcome back. So for our Castile soap, we are now going to do the Castile soap C. So we're going to take that same base recipe, and remember in Castile soap B, we simply applied a 20% water discount. So now we're going to take that recipe and we are going to apply a Superfat. So the Superfat we're going to be using is just 5%, because we don't want the super conditioned bar likely to turn to mush. So we're just going to start with the 5% and see where that gets us. So as usual, the first thing we're going to do is measure our ingredients. All right, we got that set to tare. So just like Castile soap B, the water we're going to use is 1.5 ounces. Okay. And for the lye, so the lye is changing because now we're doing a super fat. So what that means is we don't actually want to break down all the oils into soap. We want to leave a little bit there. And that's what that super fat is for, because there's going to be some fat left over. So now instead of doing 0.7 ounces of lye, we're only going to do 0.6. Now that might not sound like a big change, but with a very large batch of soap, that's going to be a pretty drastic change. And generally you can usually feel the extra oil in a super fatted bar. They tend to be kind of silky to run your hands across of instead of dry. Okay, so we've got our water and our lye, and our olive oil, of course, is remaining the same. We still just want those 5 ounces. Now, what you're about ready to see me do is this olive oil ran out in this bottle. And so I'm going to grab another bottle. Now, if you are tracking lot numbers, and I highly recommend you to do that, in batch numbers, I generally do not recommend mixing 2 different batch numbers unless you're going to mark exactly how many ounces was provided by each batch. Fortunately for me, the batch numbers on these bottles match, which is highly possible because their batches for large companies tend to be quite big. So these match, so I can actually say I used 5 ounces of the same batch of olive oil. All right. Nope, got just a little bit over. Okay, so now move the scale, and we're going to go ahead and get the water or the lye mixed into the water using just our scraper. So we're going to gradually add the lye. Remember, we want a minimum of 5 minutes usually so that we can get that lye completely dissolved into the water. The water will generally go clear. That's what you're looking for. So we're going to mix that up. Do not put your head over it or inhale deeply. It can be obnoxious. I tend to put it on my stove top with a vent on just to make sure I get plenty of circulation. It's not required. You just want to kind of be in an open room. You don't want to be hiding in a closet with this stuff or anything. So we're going to go ahead and set that aside. Let me show you what the temperature of it is right now. So we're about 169. If your lye does not get warm, I'd say about 150 degrees or warmer, your lye is probably bad or very old, so you're going to want to get some new lye. All right, so we're going to wait for this to cool down, because when we want to soak, we generally want it 130 degrees or less, and you want to keep both the lye water and the oils usually within 10 degrees of each other. Okay, so now we have our lye water at 121. And our oil's at 107. So we're going to go ahead and pour our lye water into our oils over our immersion blender so it does not splash. And then we are going to blend until light trace. All right, we've reached a light trace. So this one took probably about as long as Castile Soap A, even though we still have that 20% water discount. That would be because even though we have the water discount, we reduced the amount of lye from 0.7 to 0.6 so that we could have a superfat. So our ratio of oils to lye water was again adjusted, so it took longer to reach that trace. So this time I've chosen a pink mold, so that way I can tell that this is Castile Soap C. Try to make these even here. Generally try to scrape my container as much as possible, because when I clean all my equipment, I'm going to try to wipe as much soap batter off as possible, because I really don't want all this oil and soap batter going down my sink. I don't want it to slowly build up in my drain, and I am on a septic system. I certainly do not want a lot of oil in my septic system, because then it will not drain properly. So when I clean, I will wipe everything down. You can either do it with washable towels or paper towels, totally your preference. And then you can just wash all of your equipment as normal. Okay, so that is Castile Soap C. I will post the soap record and the lycalc.com properties so that you can see them. And then the following video will show where the soap gets cured and what it looks like as it cures.